Darwin, so you know that very well. So all of a sudden, the world is now talking about these two words, no, resilience and sustainability. So let me just go over this. I hope I know some of you know what these words mean, but in planning circles internationally and in conferences, we are discussing this. Okay, so resilience and sustainability. Resilience actually refers to adaptive capacity. Many people think that resilience is just building up physically on the infrastructure, but in fact, it is more than that. So adaptive capacity means retaining organization, functions, structure, feedback, and most importantly, identity. Okay, identity. So that is where we take off, because many of our cities now are undergoing change, but the problem is there's no planning. So we are being reactive to all of these things happening around us instead of being proactive. With urbanization, we are losing identity. So in fact, there is a need for, both authors says that to address resilience, there is a need for socio-ecological resilience, meaning maintaining social connections among the people and, of course, preserving the environment. So these are the two levels of engagement in Cebu that we are planning to address. So first is environmental preservation, the natural environment, and the creation of social spaces or the built environment. So in the 1980s, we did a Metro Cebu land use and transport study, one of the only Metro Cebu plan we had so far. So it was a 20-year plan that was in 1980s, but it expired in the year 2000. But one of the most important findings we had in the plan, since I was also the land use planner at that time, is this urban limit, that green line you see. So it's very important that we control development towards the mountains, because the forests in the middle of the island are the source of water for Cebu. In fact, now we are experiencing the lack of potable water because there's salt water intrusion towards the urban core of the city. So that's our biggest problem. But now there are developments in between. They made a highway to the west coast, and along the highway they're not controlling development. So what is happening now is there's sprawl towards the mountains, which is very dangerous for the situation of the city. Okay, let me just give you a brief background of Cebu. I know some of you know the island of Cebu is probably about 200 kilometers long and about 40 kilometers at the girth, the bigger portion where Cebu City is on the eastern side. So Cebu City is here. This is Metro Cebu area from Danao to Caracal. And then the island of Cebu goes north or south. Now many cities in the world in metropolitan areas are located in very flat areas. That probably Tacloban is also like that, but Manila is very big. Good example of a large flat area. So what's happening there? Urban centers just sprout out anywhere. Even private developers can build their own cities, like Bonifacio Global City now. Makati before was Ayala, It was started by Ayala, but now it's a burgeoning city center. But Cebu is different because Cebu, we have flat areas along the coast, but very high mountains in the inner portion. So naturally, settlements were located in the coastal areas, not in the mountain areas. So they are located here, but because they are in an axial pattern, the cities develop urban centers. Urban clusters, we call it, generally live, work, play areas. So in the north, the center is Bogo City. Now it's a city because it's the center of this cluster. And then farther south of that is Danao City. Again, it's a city because it's a cluster in itself. And then of course the urban core, and there's Caracal City, and then there's Naga City. Now all along the coast, so it's a linear. So more or less, this gives an advantage to planners in the sense that I'll explain it to you later on. Okay, so this is the Metro Cebu area from Danao down to Karkar. So we have a 3-level strategy now we are trying to implement for the Metro Cebu plan. First is dispersal of urban growth centers, so north and south. Second is to define a peri-urban area around the urban core, even along the islands here. Mactan is here, and the islands going to Bohol are very beautiful islands, so we have to preserve that. And third, develop the green loop, and that is the topic that I'm going to show to you today. So actually, the green loop is part of a whole system of preventing urban sprawl. So let me go further to the green loop. So the green loop, briefly, is defined as a pedestrian-dominated, transit-oriented corridor around the 4 local government units in the core of Metro Cebu. It's aimed at improving social connections among the people and, of course, preserving the environment. So it applies various green initiatives to enhance our built and natural environment. What are the global facts? Climate change is real. This is the new normal, and we see all these disasters happening all over. Urbanization is real. 55% of the world's population is now living in cities. The Philippines, we achieved that value in 2008. Okay, now the figure is 64% of our population now living in cities, and that is very critical because we have no planning in cities, barely any planning, so that's the problem. What is the current thinking? To solve urbanization, we have to control densification. This is the key to sustained future. I was glad that Professor Bauer also mentioned this, to densify cities, compact cities. And then there's this triple bottom line: people, places, and profit. Before, businessmen always think about profit, never about people and building places for people. So now current thinking is building places for people, not only for business and profit. Okay, what is the objective? What are the objectives of the Green Loop? First was to bring back legibility of the city by connecting major land uses. I'll show you a map later on where these major land uses are. They are existing. Okay, and all we have to do is connect it. Similar to building or designing a house or a building, like many of you here are architects. The building or the house should be legible. When you go inside a building, you know exactly where the kitchen is, where the living room is, the bedrooms are. It is legible. Okay, so similarly in cities, we have to make the city legible. But how do we do that? Now because of the urbanization, Cebu is very different from Tacloban. The population is really, the traffic is bad, there is flooding, there's a lot of urban problems now. But we are not addressing those problems. So this is one of the purposes of the Green Loop, to build back legibility. Second is to apply controlled densification and shift developments away from the forest reserve. So the Green Loop tries to shift the center of gravity of development from the mountain or the forest areas towards Mactan. But Mactan, we have also to control developments. What is going for us in Mactan is we have the airport. So the airport controls building heights because of the flight path. So it does not develop so much in Mactan as much as it will develop in Mandaue and Cebu, the urban core of Cebu. And then we have to enhance social connections among the people. Provide a sense of place, inclusive and democratic. We have a lot of malls. In fact, here in Tacloban, you're starting to build malls. But what are these malls? In planning, we call them quasi-public space. They're not the true democratic space. Why? Because ordinary people, those who cannot afford, cannot go inside the malls. Why? Because there's a security guard who checks on you. But the true democratic public space are our streets. But unfortunately, the local government is not addressing that. They're not providing the true democratic space in our cities and towns. Then we have to preserve the natural environment and apply green initiatives. So this is very possible in the Green Loop. So where did we go wrong? It's very true in Cebu and Manila. Not so much in Tacloban. I heard from Danny that there is traffic, but not the whole day, not like in Cebu. You know, this came from the internet, but he says, Brent Toderian says, when you design a city for cars, it fails for everyone. It fails for everyone. That's very true. The whole world is experiencing that. In fact, in Paris now, they prevent vehicles from entering the city of Paris. Everybody's doing it. Now, why are we not doing that? Okay? And then it also addresses health. We are used to riding cars. Statistics show that only 10% of our population own cars. Yet, the reverse is real. 90% of our streets are for cars, with very little for sidewalks and people. Okay, it's the reverse. So that's the mentality of the Filipino. So this is the green loop. Cebu has expanded so much that we are losing our identity. Okay? Loss of legibility, loss of social interaction, loss of community spirit, and loss of the natural environment. So we are proposing a loop, but this loop is composed of segments, because you cannot walk to all 42 kilometers the loop. But in packed segments, like about 300 to 400 meters length, these are connected, these are connected along the loop and connects to major land uses along the city. Now, these are the rivers that we will pass. That's the Butuanon River in Mandaue. And then there's the Guadalupe River in the south, in Cebu. And then there's the Pilipog River in Cordoba and Lapu-Lapu. This Lapu-Lapu City in Mactan is Cordoba municipality in Mactan. So the green loop passes through all that. And not only that, and what is important in this slide is we have the north-south arterial roads. As I said, the development should be axial in Cebu. Otherwise, we will encroach on the mountain. So these roads are very important. So we should designate. The problem with our roads is we designate our roads according to jurisdiction. City road, barangay road, national road. But in planning, that's absolutely useless. Because we should identify our roads based on function. So if you look at this, the coastal road is the cargo route. That's the basic function of this coastal road. Probably you know that goes through SRP going to Mandaue. And then the red line should be a mass transit route because that goes all the way north to Bantayan, all the way south to Santander. And then the blue line will be commercial, public, because a lot of subdivisions are along this route. And then of course, the green line is the green loop. And it is strategically located between the mass transit route and that private commercial route. Okay, so these are the urban areas of Cebu, major land uses. So may I just identify? This is the cultural and historic district where Santo Niño Cathedral is, the Plaza Independencia, all of it is in Cebu City, cultural and historic district. Ayala Center and the IT Park, if you are familiar, is becoming trade and financial center of Cebu. And then Mandaue's vision is high-end manufacturing, and we are proposing a design and creative hub. Because Cebu cannot compete with areas like Caparazon. They have very wide manufacturing areas. Cebu has the talent in creativity. So we try to introduce design and creativity. University of San Carlos is in this area. The high-end manufacturing like furnitures are in this area. A lot of home furnishings are being done here. So this becomes a high-end manufacturing, which is the vision of Mandaue. And then Lapu-Lapu is the tourist resort area, which is still there, it's existing. And probably sports recreation. And then finally, Cordoba, we want to preserve it for ecotourism and mangrove stands. It's important that we plant mangroves in this area. The earthquake that happened in Bohol, we were just lucky because that earthquake was a reverse fault. A reverse fault this is the permanent block. The hanging block goes up. So we experienced a wave going to Cebu, in the south of Cebu, just about 1 or 1.5 meters high as the residents. explain. But if it were a direct fault or natural fault, where the hanging block goes down, just as in what happened in Fukushima, no, that area, there will be a big wave which will go through this area. And you see, it is like a funnel, just like in Tacloban. The shape of Tacloban is like this, where the city is the vertex, and that's where the waves hit. No? So we have to protect this area with mangroves. That's what I said, because in our experience in northern Cebu, we saw houses inside mangrove areas that were not affected at all by the typhoon, but outside the mangrove areas, they were all devastated. No? They were gone. So you see, we see how important mangroves are. So this could be a mangrove area, but unfortunately, some businessmen and politicians do not listen. But we're still advocating for this. Okay, so that is segment 1, that is segment 2, and then segment 3, which is the linear park around the rivers, and then segment 4 in Mactan, and then segment 5. This segment 5 is a proposed bridge. I'll explain it to you later on. This is now undergoing a feasibility study by a private group, a bridge, a third bridge to Mactan in the south. Okay, so segment 1, I just talked about this in Cebu. We have this green loop around Mango Avenue area, and then this is the river, which is a linear park. And then it connects to the Cultural and Historic District. I told the cities, I was also asked to talk about the green loop to the 4 cities, LGUs. And I told them they can make their own loops that connect to the green loop. So this is the heritage walk that I am connecting. So these are the 4 C's of livability: disconnected, compact, complete. But the bottom line in livability is the availability of choices. So availability of choices in terms of education, in terms of health, and of course in terms of mobility. So not only vehicles, but mass transit and pedestrianization, bike lanes and sidewalks. So we have a lot of experience worldwide. No? This is the historic and cultural. This is some model made by our CAFA students for the historic district of Cebu. It's a loop from Colon Street here. So the first street in the whole country is Colon, and now we are asked to pedestrianize Colon Street. And then those are the areas along the historic district of Cebu. That's the model where the mayor attended our presentation. That was actually in 2010 when he was still a new mayor. But it's only now that they're expanding to pedestrianization. There's samples by our students. That's their perspective. And then, these are the housing areas in the south of Cebu. This is Bajau housing made of compressed earth blocks. And then I explained it yesterday. And then this is the machine that we donated for the community. That is in the rural areas. This is in Bantayan up north. This is what we're doing. Houses like this, which are slanted walls, bigger, wider elbow rooms. And we are doing this in the north. And then our fine arts department are painting the walls like this. And our landscape departments also there. Okay, that is the model of the green loop exhibited last year. These are examples. And that's it in Mandaue. Again, there's a loop in the commercial district and they connect to the green loop. This is actually being planned now by the city of Mandaue. It's good that they're expanding. This is in Lapu-Lapu. That is the proposed bridge to the Mactan area. We call it the Quincentennial Bridge. 500 years of the coming of Magellan in 2021, 6 years from now, but nobody is talking about it except us in the college. So why not build an iconic structure to commemorate the 500 years of the coming of the East and the West? So this is what we propose in USC Safa. but the government is not listening. Proposed Mango Avenue, that's along the segment 1. Other green initiatives, we have EGPs, rainwater harvesting systems, sewage treatment plants, solar-powered street lamps, permeable pavement. So all of this can be applied in the green loop. Mass transit is the DOST road train. I wonder if you heard about it. And then the Japan AGT. Japan is, the JICA is proposing an AGT line from Mactan Airport to the city. So this can be another. And then this is important, 3 spheres of influence in the civic environment: government, private sector, and the community. Before, it used to be government and private sector working, but now, okay, sorry, I have to end. The community is very active. So all of this should come together. That's the Mega Cebu vision. That's the Green Loop experiment we had last year. And then this is slogan we are doing now, Cebu in 30 minutes. I hope it will bring back the identity of Cebu. So with that, thank you and good morning.
When you design a city for cars, it fails for everyone. Thank you so much again, Architect Dean Joseph, Michael, and Pina from the College of Architecture and Fine Arts, San Carlos University. A round of applause. Now our second speaker is from the JICA study team, or the Japanese International Corporation Agency, Mr. Katsuji Imada. A round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Keisuke Imada from Japanese-Philippine. Yes, so today I would like to present what's approach to Tacloban City and other LGUs in summer related on comprehensive recovery and reconstruction planning. After the session, other JICA study team member will present about structure measure and hazard maps. So I will skip such kind of explanation and I focus on planning. So this is the outline of today's my presentation. Firstly, I will show the objective and approach of our project, and then I will focus on planning, and I will introduce our activity we carried out from last year to this March. And then I will show the process of planning to take structure measures and non-structure measures. And finally, I will show the activity from April to next year. So, Build Back Better is a concept of recovery and reconstruction from Typhoon Yolanda. Now, maybe this word is very famous. In last March, the Third World Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction in Sendai was held. At that time, Prime Minister Mr. Shinzo Abe said this word, Build Back Better. And also, as the Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction 2015 to 2030 was adopted, and Build Back Better is one of the 4 priority areas. So, and after Yolanda, President Aquino showed the commitment to Build Back Better. So our project also takes some activities to achieve Build Back Better. So this chart is shows the approach of our project. So to achieve Build Back Better, comprehensive approach is very important. What is comprehensive approach? So firstly, we need to understand the current situation. So we took the survey to understand the damage by structural storm surge and strong wind. And then we analyze the issues for recovery and reconstruction. And then set a vision for future and basic policies, discussing with Tacloban City and other NGOs. Yes, and regarding the basic policy, we hold up 3 principles: building safer cities and recovery of people's daily life, as well as recovery of local economy. And then we support planning of comprehensive recovery and reconstruction so that GOP, Tacloban City and other HU can implement. Actually, our project is not only planning but also graduate program and quick impact projects, but all of activity is integrated to this approach. So for comprehensive approach, we selected 2 focuses. One is to introduce our experience. So Japan has many experience to face the big scale of disaster like earthquake and tsunami as well as typhoon. So we introduced our experience in terms of not for technical but also the procedures. And another principle is to give physical support through execution of several types of pilot projects and OJT programs. In this project, we targeted totally 80 LGUs from late eastern summer and summer. And out of 80 LGUs, we focused on 5 LGUs as modeling area. And we worked together and we have several types of workshops to make the plan of evacuation and land use and other kind of things. And also, in quick impact project, we reconstruct the public facility like school and daycare center. So that kind of knowledge and experience should be spread to this target area. So today, I want to focus on planning and for building safer cities. Actually, in the afternoon, our member, Mr. Uemura, will explain technically about hazard map, so I will skip this part. But hazard map is very important to understand the hazard probability, inundation area, and inundation depth. So, using this hazard map, we estimate the arrival time of high storm surge to each area. Yes, so this information is especially important for evacuation. This is an example result of analysis of arrival time of storm surge. This is a case of Basel municipality. Yes, so in this result of the figure, we can understand the people in his area can know how many minutes they have time to be inundated, and how many minutes they have time for evacuation. So using a hazard map, we discussed and compared the basic information like the evacuation center and the emergency transportation road. Regarding evacuation center, firstly we confirm the location of evacuation center. So some evacuation center is no low risk area, and some evacuation center is in hazardous area. So if so, we need to think to change the evacuation center for each barangay. And after that, we need to confirm the capacity of evacuation center and the number of evacuees, the people who need to evacuate. Yes, so this work is actually very tough work, and it takes time. So LGU is still ongoing to get the information and the data. So and it's very hard to get the capacity of evacuation center for all of residential people. So we need to discuss about to use private building as an evacuation center. And this information should be upgraded and discussed, continue to discuss. And the emergency transportation road also should be discussed. During disaster, if people try to go to evacuate by using their vehicle, it's congestion happened. So in advance, we need to confirm the evacuation transportation route and the capacity of the transportation should be considered. And also, the communication road damage information information dissemination about road damage is also important. And we need to prepare for after disaster. We need to start road cleaning for access security. So in our project, we took several times of workshop with 5LG youth. And we discussed about the evacuation plan, land use, and not only that, but also the social sector economy. And finally, we can discuss about the structure measure and non-structure measures. Regarding elevated road, in the afternoon, Mr. Weber will explain, so I will skip. But other kind of structure measures are also important. For example, improvement of the evacuation center and improvement of hill or high elevated area for safe. And the approach road to there is important. And the emergency transportation road should be also integrated. And regarding non-structure measures, we have 4 items to be considered. First one is, firstly, we need to avoid the risk. It means we need to discuss about relocation or easement and that. And also we need to think about how we can mitigate the risk. For example, evacuation is very important for preparedness. So regarding the evacuation plan, this is an example. We did workshop with Givan planning officer. So we can understand the location of barangay and the safer area. So we confirm the number of evacuees each barangay, and we also confirm the capacity of safer area, and we compare and we discuss. And actually, it's difficult to, so as you can see, the total number of evacuees is more than 2,000. But it's difficult to satisfy such the capacity building. So we need to find school, church, or private buildings. So actual situation of Iran, the capacity of the evacuation center is not enough. So we need to continue the efforts to make practical evacuation location plan. So we still continue to work together with the LG youth in late summer. So from April we start a new project. So I want to introduce something. To consider planning, we focus on land use plan and also LDRRM plan, disaster risk reduction management plan. For land use plan, now we are discussing with Tacloban City and Palo for area management. So area management is important to enhance the land use, how we can use the land use, and especially we support DPWH to construct the elevated road, so the risk of the area will be changed. It means some area will be protected through the structure measure. So we can think how we can use the area after the building construction. So this one is the case of Tacloban. We discussed with the planning officer of Tacloban, and we think about the vision and goal, how we can use the land use. And then after we separate each zone and we discussed. And regarding area management, it's important to involve the private sector. So now we are discussing with Tacloban City and try to make the committee to discuss about the area management involving the private sector. And the other one is disaster risk management plan. So we discussed with Tacloban City for timeline action plan. This is just example. So for the preparedness of disaster, there are 3 points. First one is who will do what. I mean, in Tacloban office, there are several departments, so we need to decide each role of each department. After that, we need to think when who will do. So we think we plan to make the plan before 120 hours during the typhoon, and we discuss how we can do. And after that, we need to coordinate between the related organization. Yes, so this is
Katsuji Imada from the Chaiga study team. A round of applause, please. And now for the next speaker, coming from the City Archive Office of Tacloban City, we may call on architect Danilo Fuentiveria. But before that, of course, we would like to thank the Japanese Society for Asian Pacific Priorities Studies, of course, headed by Kei Minohara. A round of applause. And of course, in partnership with the Japan Foundation, the University of Shiga Prefecture, the Eastern Visayas State University, and the City of Tacloban. Before anything else again, we would like to thank the past speakers, of course, Professor Ubawa Michio from Tohoku University, Dean Joseph Michael from the College of Architecture and Fine Arts, San Carlos University, and from Chaiga study team or the Japanese International Corporation Agency, Katsuji Imada.
To rise from the room.
Good morning once again. I'd like to present to you something which the mayor would have presented earlier had he been around. and this will give you more information of what the city is doing in order to recover from the devastation of Typhoon Yolanda. So, in behalf of the team that prepared this presentation, I'd like to show you what the city is now doing. So, allow me to show you the video.
After the tragedy of Typhoon Yolanda, Tacloban's Brazilian people.
Please bear with us. There's some technical glitch.
Are determined to rise from the rubble and build back a city that is more vibrant than ever.
Okay, seems like we're having some technical difficulties. But of course, we would like to acknowledge the presence of our students coming from the Eastern Visayas State University. Again, where are the 4A architecture students? The 4B architecture students. The 5th year B architecture students. And of course, the 5th year A architecture students. Thank you for coming, everyone. Again, we would like to thank our past speakers, Professor Ubaura Michio from the Hopo University, Dean Joseph Michael Espina from University of San Carlos, Katsuji Imada from China Study Team, and our speakers now, Danilo Fuentevilla from the City Architect Office of Tacloban. The Japanese-Philippine Conference for Urban Redevelopment of Tacloban City would like to thank Japan Society for Asian Pacific Poverty Studies, Japan Foundation, the University of Shiga Prefecture, Eastern Visayas State University, and the City of Tacloban.
Yolanda. Tacloban's resilient people are determined to rise from the rubble and build back a city that is more vibrant than ever. So 1 month after Yolanda, with the invaluable assistance of UN Habitat and experts from a wide range of disciplines, the city began crafting a master plan for recovery and rehabilitation, a roadmap to ensure that all steps taken during the emergency and recovery phases will also be building blocks for long-term development. After 2 months of intensive work, a draft of the master plan was presented to the people of Tacloban City in a public forum attended by over 1,000 people. Various members of the academia, the business sector, and the workforce were given time to air their questions and ideas. The master plan seeks to address 6 key result areas: shelter, social services, infrastructure, economic revitalization, environmental sustainability, and disaster risk management. Yolanda damaged over 54,000 homes. More than 60% of these were completely destroyed. 1/3 of those completely destroyed were of the urban poor. Over 950 households were forced to live in tents throughout the city. The most urgent need was to provide housing assistance to 14,500 families from areas submerged in storm surges over 4 meters high. The long-term solution is to build new permanent homes in communities on higher ground. 18 months after Yolanda, however, only 123 permanent homes have been completed and occupied. 106 were built by GMA Kapusa Foundation and 17 by the National Housing Authority. Because the construction of permanent houses are taking a long time, it became necessary to build temporary houses that take only 10 days to build, but can last up to 10 years. Designed to be climate resilient, these shelters had in fact withstood Typhoon Ruby's high winds, which battered Tacloban for about 24 hours. The Tacloban city government, along with several partners, have collectively built 778 units of temporary shelters. And city government employees celebrated the first Independence Day after Yolanda by helping build these temporary shelters. The target is a total of 2,200 units by the end of 2015. One of the strategies to build back better is to build not just a relocation site, but a brand new township in Tacloban North, complete with schools, health facilities, public safety services, and even a satellite office of the City Hall. Tacloban North is now being master planned to become a highly desirable place to live and do business. It has the